Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to talk about customer experience design or donor experience design if you are obviously in charity land. Customer experience design has really exploded onto the scene probably a good 10 years ago. And there are many different approaches to how do you go about customer experience design. But one of those things very much upfront is, why do you actually do it? So let me share my presentation slides so that we can have a bit about chat about how we look at customer experience design. And then we're going to have a look at how do we actually go about that. When we look at customer experience design, one of the mistakes that is often made is to look at it separate from a number of other KPIs. But very simply, customer experience design has no other reason for being than increasing the loyalty of your customers and increasing the value of your customers. Therefore, when we look at what drives that loyalty and value growth with customers, it's simply about trust. When we look at the effect of every little bit more trust on our customers' loyalty, then we see that on a scale from 0 to 10, where 0 to 4 is distrust, so we don't show that here, but here it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We have 5 and 6 with trust neutral, trust with 7 and 8, and we have high trust with 9 and 10. With every little step up in trust, our customers' loyalty increases quite substantially. First, ever so slightly from 5 to 6, then quite significantly from 6 to 7. That is the jump from trust neutral to trusting. And then it goes out quite rapidly, pretty much doubling to an 8, going far higher in 9, and almost doubling again to 10 out of 10. And some of our clients that have customer bases that give them about 30% of them give them a 10 out of 10 in trust, have virtually no churn. When you think about it as well, when we're talking about these levels of trust, when you're at trust neutral, it's really about the just rudimentary basics, and it can really go either way. One experience can drive you into distrust, another experience can drive you up higher in trust. That is very important even at that level, because trusting and loyalty is self-fulfilling prophecy. If we ever so slightly trust, we have a bias that makes us find more reasons why our trust is well placed. But equally on the other side, if we distrust ever so slightly, we want to find more reasons why our distrust is well placed and justified. So it is actually quite critical to find the right aspects here. When we therefore then get to 7 and 8, we're talking about that kind of base trust, where it is about fulfilling more or less the functional experiences that things run well. If you're working in a telco, then it is that my calls are connected. I've got a decent reception, that I get billed properly. Same kind of thing in energy. If it's a car, it's got to take me securely from A to B. So it is really the basics there. When we look at going higher, though, that's where we need to ask, what is it that our customers would love to trust us for, instead of asking, what do they need to trust us for? Just flipping that question ever so slightly really changes the perspective entirely, and you will find totally new worlds of what is valuable to your customers. So coming back to it, trust drives about 75% of loyalty. Again, that changes slightly with each brand and each category, but it's always around that number. So therefore, when we look at customer experience design, it is actually ultimately trust design. It is about building and managing trust at every touch point during the journey, during all your episodes. One of the mistakes we often observe is that clients jump immediately and they do all this amazing journey mapping in every little detail. But the drawback is it becomes very technical and it becomes very overwhelming. And we've done customer experience design for a good 12, 13 years. And we've done these maps, and we still find them very overwhelming. And what it does, it drags you immediately into the minute detail that is not helpful in actually creating a great experience. So we changed our processes to do it differently. First of all, we actually simply look at what is it that our customers need to and would love to trust us for. And we're collecting that around the TrustLogic, which by now you should have read. So I won't go through this one again. If you want to know more about it in detail, what the buckets mean, go to trustlogic.info and do the TrustLogic Level 1 course or read the booklet. So we examine what is it in each of those trust buckets that our customers need to trust us for and would love to trust us for. And we're starting to align it, what we as an organization can offer as an experience currently, but potentially also in the future. And we also immediately distinguish these things between aspects that are more functional, process-oriented, versus the emotional impact of each of those touch points, because they're always interconnected. What happens? How does it make me feel? Once we have all that selection together, we consolidate it and we start to say, what exactly in each of those trust buckets do we want our customers to experience? And then we consolidate it and bring it into a framework where we can articulate that for each trust bucket very concise and bring it further together in a customer experience core. What is it that we want them to feel about us when they deal with us? In this example, and I just quickly took a screenshot from an older job, as you see, we've defined those 6 trust bucket values really as an experience. What is the experience in each of those? Not even worrying about how is this being delivered. And we have also defined the core customer experience inside. And then we assessed with the team and through customer service, how well do we deliver against each of those experiences? Therefore, at a level of the experience, we now already have a gap analysis between what we know our customers would like to experience versus how well do we currently deliver on that experience. If you have looked at the brand strategy or brand development webinar, you would have seen as well that we can do a driver analysis to understand which of those experiences is actually more important at what point of the journey. Then it is actually worthwhile going back into these specific episodes or parts of the journey to analyze them in detail and to start to do a gap analysis. And once that is done, you can change those things very quickly. And we can look at how does it manifest itself. So for this specific experience that we want to deliver, we can now articulate it also in an experience story. And we can start putting together mood boards, what that feels like. And once that is done, it becomes so much clearer for every journey part owner or touch point owner what they need to deliver. And then we break it down to the specific episode and we specify it further. What is happening in the episode? What is the experience focus in terms of building trust? What are the key visuals and words? How do we articulate that specific experience? And what kind of examples do we want to have in there? And once each of those episodes is well defined, then it is applied, and we're using a tool here that we call level play, which identifies specifically what kind of interaction purpose do we have for each of those, what is the rhythm of those, and then we create the very specific touch point briefs, what each touch point has to deliver to bounce through that rhythm. And as you see, it looks a little bit like a musical sheet, and in fact it is, because customer experience and trust design is all about creating a rhythm that creates a nicer and nicer melody in the end, because it's in each note that it sings, but overall it creates that experience through the amalgamation of all those different touch point experiences. And it is that experience at every touch point that ultimately drives the loyalty, nudges up that trust ever so slightly in every interaction. And that is ultimately also what is reflected in your NPS, which is driven 85% by trust, and your customer satisfaction 75% by trust. That's it already for today as a very quick run through of how you can approach customer experience design based on trust, which is about understanding that customer experience design has no other purpose than building and managing trust throughout the journey, because that is what drives your NPS, it drives your CSAT, it drives your loyalty, and it drives also customer value. Secondly, before falling into the trap of going into every minute detail, define the experience at a top level in terms of what it is that our customers need to trust us for and what they would love to trust us for. Out of that, define the overall experience that you want to deliver and start to allocate which of these experience parts need to happen at what stage of the journey and in which critical touch points. That quickly allows you also to prioritize which touch points do we focus on, because you might have to implement over 2 to 3 years. Some technology changes may need to be made that take a year, 2 years, sometimes cost $15, $20 million to do. So where are your quick wins? Once you have done that, you articulate each of the journey episodes precisely so that the owner knows exactly what they want to deliver in which parts of the journey and how does it interlock with the other journeys. After that, you go down to the touch point level and you do the detailed analysis, but then also use a tool like Level Play to define what interaction purposes do we have and what kind of rhythm do we need to build during that episode, and then specify and detail every touch point. If you want to chat more about it, more than happy to do that at any stage. Just send me an email, stefan.grafe@mextconsulting.com, or you can just simply send one to intouch@trustlogic.info. Ultimately, that lands with the team, and ultimately that lands with me then as well. Have a wonderful day. Bye.